Hello there. None of what we're told stacks up at all. None of it. Now this is what we're told. The science is settled. Humans will destroy the world because we take too much from it. The science is settled. Humans must be restricted in movement to stop emissions to save the world. The science is settled. Humans must alter their eating habits to embrace insects and Frankenstein artificially manufactured foods and stop eating wholesome meat. The science is settled. Millions will be made redundant as artificial intelligence takes over the world. But maybe we don't need to worry about any of this, because none of this makes any sense given one huge concern that many have not yet factored in. Although how that one concern came about at such a pivotal time in history is another big question. And that big concern is the birth rate decline in the Western world and the upcoming reversal in global population growth. Yes, in the next few decades, the world population will start falling in number. Not only from excess coincidences, but also due to a declining birth rate. But you wouldn't believe that when looking at the UK population that has rocketed upwards by some 8 million people in the last couple of decades. But the factors at work there are that we generally live longer and we have very, very lax controls on inward migration, while at the same time our birth rate has dropped. According to the University of Oxford's Leverhulme Centre for Demographic Science, childbirth has dropped to its lowest recorded level in England and Wales over the last 10 years. With the fertility rate dropping from 1.94 children per female in 2010 down to 1.55 in 2021. And amongst the better educated, it's fallen further from 1.8 to 1.4, where the replacement rate is 2.11, and the extra 0.11 accounts for child mortality, with some demographers saying that a fertility rate below 1.8 or thereabouts may be irreversible. And these sorts of figures are being replicated across Europe and much of the rest of the world. And if our children follow this trend when they grow older, then the global population will go into serious decline. And fewer humans means less consumption of the Earth's resources, with technology making the things we do more efficient as time goes on. That makes all the artificial net zero restrictions on movement and food and energy totally redundant. As the population numbers decline, our meat consumption will start falling too. There will therefore be fewer cattle needed. There will therefore be no overriding requirement for the Western world to start eating locusts. And the threat of job losses through AI automation will recede as the population numbers decline. In fact, we'll need more automation just to survive as we do today. But that would take a very benign type of AI to achieve that. And right now, I'm not sure the experts in that particular field are viewing AI as guaranteed to be benign. In fact, they are issuing dire warnings about it. But that's another matter. Now, isn't it intriguing that at just the time all the climate, energy, food and AI scares come out, we realise that the exponential global population growth has suddenly slowed down and is getting ready to go into reverse gear. Now, how come that happened so quickly? A lot of experts in demography point to the spread of education and healthcare, with the result that women in the more developed countries no longer want to have children or are delaying having them and never quite getting around to it, while those in the developing world no longer need the numbers of children to ensure their line continues because of the available healthcare. And it could also be that men don't want the responsibility nowadays. So given the general accessibility to modern birth control, then it could be seen as inevitable that birth rates would fall. But the cause may be more mechanical than that. According to reports, the global human sperm count has dropped by more than 50% over the last 5 decades, with fingers being pointed at lack of exercise and the eating of mega-processed foods. But worse than that, this drop in sperm count could indicate big health problems amongst men around the world. Now join both those causes of education and sperm count together, and the repercussions on birth rate can only take it one way. Now here's an interesting little conundrum. We're now being told that AI will very soon be so advanced that it will cure cancer, stop global climate change, and develop wonderful new ways of getting at cheap, clean energy. So one assumes it will also be able to reverse sperm count decline. But while birth control is available to all, I don't think we'll be seeing a population spurt anytime soon, unless AI is able to keep people alive for far longer than we think. But that won't matter, because AI will always be there to help us deal with a growing population, to the point it might take us to the stars to expand. That is, if it's benign, of course. But the powers that be, our betters, or people who think they're our betters, in places like Davos, see our future as more of imprisonment than freedom. They push out narratives of doom and destruction, that unless they are allowed to dictate to us how we live our lives and where, we'll all be doomed. And you also have to question why the leaders of the developed world are so dedicated to mass net inward migration, while also telling us to use and eat less because it's unsustainable, when surely the best way to make our country sustainable is to heavily control the net migration numbers, especially if we're facing the prospect of AI doing more and more of the work that humans do year after year. And with the global birth rate and population falling, for whatever reason, then none of these predictions of doom and gloom are based on reality. In fact, maybe it should be the reverse. But the wealthy and powerful in certain places seem absolutely intent on locking the people of the world down as much as possible before population decline sets in. It seems that they want us to accept total control and comply to being herded into small concentrated areas before population decline happens, before the reality of it dawns on the people, and then presumably use AI to somehow keep us penned in. But why, if there are going to be far fewer of us going forwards? Or if AI can tell us how to manage population increases properly? There has been talk about an upcoming population decline for years, so why has no one factored this into net zero plans, agriculture needs, infrastructure needs, etc.? And why has no one factored both the claimed net zero problem and a jobless AI future into immigration numbers? No, all we get is horror story after horror story, and getting orders to prepare to lose our freedoms, aspirations and money. Someone, or some people, are lying to us. Big time.